Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome to this overview video for the new stuff that comes in the Ghostbusters DLC for Planet Coaster. I say stuff specifically because here we're going to be looking at the new scenery, building pieces and the new ride, but I really want to point out here that the Ghostbusters DLC is really focused around the new scenario mode, the new gameplay mode that I am going to be covering in a separate series. Okay, so here is just the stuff that you're going to be getting that you can place into any of your parks. So we start off with all the random little odd bits. There is a set of Ghostbusters gear, I guess you would call them. There's the proton pack, there's the thing they throw on the floor to collect the ghosts. I'm not really up on my Ghostbusters if I'm honest with you, but you know, it's all the stuff that you'd expect from the film. Two size versions of these, one that is suited to the actual size of the peeps and all the new animatronics, and then another larger set as well that you can use for sort of set pieces within rides. We have a couple of lights, nothing crazy. Two lights, one's a floodlight, one's sort of like just a wall-mounted light. They are colourable as well. This one's actually really quite useful. I'm going to look forward to sticking that in a few places. Then we move on to some interior pieces. Gorgeous candelabra. That's a really nice looking piece. We have this great table, nice sort of function table that's covered in a white cloth, and then these pretty awesome dining chairs as well. It's all about the hotel set that's come with the game. Really nice that. I think you could do a lot of good stuff in restaurants and things, or even the candelabra could go into sort of spooky houses you've already got. Next up is some bookcasey stuff. I'll be honest with you, when I first saw these I thought, well, we already have bookcases, we already have books, and then I thought, well, no, that is part of the spooky pack, I suppose, so it is quite nice that you don't necessarily have to have the spooky pack to be able to do some interiors for your Ghostbusters rides, but let's be honest, this pack really does sort of lend itself to go well with the spooky pack, so I'd recommend you picking that up if you haven't already. There's an empty bookcase, one with the books on, and then a selection of books loose that you can place where you want. Here's a bit more Ghostbuster-ified stuff, a selection of various slimes, a couple of oozing ones, one's placed on the floor there, another long one that will go across the top of a wall or a bookcase. These are really good. I've used this to get this kind of thing before. I've been using icing pieces from the Christmas pack recoloured, so it's nice to see that we've actually got some there that are made really nice to sort of hang over edges and things like that. So nice additions there for your spooky parks and your haunted houses. Next up, the big boy himself, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. This is the blueprint that it comes with, but these are all placed down on the ground. These are all separate pieces. I'll show you in a moment. But also, I thought it might be quite nice to point out that there is a new biome here as well, which I think is only the second new biome we've had since launch. I'm pretty sure we got the Arctic biome with the Christmas pack, but other than that, this is the first time we've got a new biome. It's very similar to the deciduous biome, I think, but it also has a city in the background that's got some moving cars and stuff around it, which is pretty neat. I think it all ties into the new Ghostbusters scenarios, but you can actually use it in Sandbox as well. But anyway, back down to the Stay Puft Man. As you can see, they come in all different parts, arm pieces, hand pieces, and there are two adjustable heads, the happy one and the angry one there, looking pretty good. Next up, we have a few new special effects. Dave Crossland's done excellent work on these. This one especially looks like it's taken straight out of the movie. Very, very cool. So we have a lightning bolt, and then we have a couple of new mists to use. Nice, really quite fine mists these are. I think these are really quite impressive. They don't look as like they're sprites so much as the in-game the older mists do. I think these are really, really nicely done. So probably go through and change my mists out for these. And then obviously we have the big swirling clouds that normally sits atop of the skyscraper in the movie. But yeah, really, really good. Look at that, the sort of what's the word, electric lightning going on in the middle. Next up then we have animatronics. There's 4 for each character. Great news, there are no sticks up their butts here, and they are peep sized as well, which is fantastic. So I think that's meant to be Egon, and then maybe Ray, or is that one Ray? I don't know. I'm not, like I say, I'm not really hot on my Ghostbusters stuff, but there's an applause pose for sort of like completing, or dancing, completing the level or whatever. 2 different shots using the guns, standing up and crouching, and then another just sort of relatively idle. And then we've got Winston down here as well. And then there's a couple of the woman who, when she goes evil. That one there, yeah. And then there's a selection of these dudes. Now, these don't class as animatronics. These actually class as a new category that you'll find in scenery called targets. You'll find them down here in props under targets. There we go. There's also a selection of regular targets, but they come free. They're not part of the Ghostbusters DLC. They actually come free with the update that comes alongside these ones. But the interesting thing about these is these can be linked up to the new ride to make a full sort of shooting dark ride. I'm going to go into more detail in that later on, but these of course can just be used as animatronics if you wish. Each of them come with at least 3, sometimes 4. There's a static one, an angry static one, and then a moving one. Some of them move back and forth, some of them move up and down, some of them seem to do like a little loop or lunge towards the camera. They all look great. They look very sort of traditional Ghostbusters style. These look like they could come straight out of the movie, that sort of weird plasticine effect that's been made slightly see-through. It looks really, really good. This guy, look, he's here. These are one of the ones that comes back and forth. Pretty good. The little dude there with the wings. These all look really great. I think these are really well animated, really well designed, and they all sort of work well with each other. And then you've got the dogs, the statue dogs that sort of come alive or something. I don't know. I saw the film when I was a kid, all right? So bear with me. Again, a couple of different types there. One's crowding, one's static, one's screaming. And then, of course, the man himself, Slimer, has lots of different, again, mechanics, eating and burping and laughing, and then a couple flying around. So they are all classed as triggers, but targets, but of course you can use them just as regular animatronics in your ghost rides if you want to. I think if you want to do a really realistic version of these, you should put these behind some glass so it can look like it's a projection, but if you want to go a bit more fanciful, go ahead. There's plenty to choose from. Look at that. Next up then, we actually get a new shop here now then with Stay Puft Marshmallows, really quite nicely designed on the inside, lots of detail, and obviously lots of the Stay Puft logo there. And yeah, I think that's really good. Lots of different flavours and stuff. That's really nicely done, actually. I didn't take a look at the interior before, but yeah, it looks good. And then bags of marshmallows as well in a vending machine. And as always, these shops come with a selection of signage, lit and non-lit versions of the large one, just the face, neon, smaller ones, marshmallows itself, a standalone one there, marshmallows, and then you get some of the old Ghostbusters signs. That's really nice. Entrance around corner, like that a lot. Cedric Hotel, and then obviously just some Ghostbusters signs itself. So you get Ghostbusters dark rides, your Ghostbusters themes, spooky houses going with these ones. For the builders, the detailers, this is where this pack really comes alive. And to be honest with you, I think they've done themselves a little bit of a disservice here, not mentioning that there are 5 new, pretty complete wall sets in this pack. I think they probably should have mentioned that a lot earlier than they did. But yeah, here we go. This first one is called Classic, is it? Oh no, Cast Stone. So we've got this really nice sort of lower stone here, and then a classic brick that goes alongside it. Columns, pieces, very filled out these are. They're really good. Loads of different cornice pieces for them as well. Some really good, quite serviceable doors that are going to be really good for backstage areas and stuff like that. Then we have a selection of outdoor stairs here for fire escapes, things like that. Next section, this one is called the Classic. One of them is called Classic City Brick. This one, not quite as full, this one, but again, still pretty neat. Lots of nice cornice work here. Really goes well with the studio pack, I think, this one as well. I think if you've got a studios park, this stuff is going to become very useful for you. Firehouse wall lengths. This is for making the iconic firehouse, but like I say, they have given it all as piece by piece, which is really good. Here's the chimney, but tell me that doesn't look like a trash and recycling can bin there. I think that's exactly what I'm going to use that for. But again, really nice pieces, some nice window pieces, a couple of little bits of details. Again, very serviceable doors, something I personally have been looking for a long time. Some nice mirrors. This next set, I forget the name of this one, Gozer. This is the temple at the end that they go up to, and these things come alive or something, I think. A couple of really interesting things here. One is there's some really nice little detail-y pieces. 2, you get this large image that's not a billboard, it's just an image on its own. Really nice sort of gothic corner here. Some gargoyles. Diagonal walls. These are on a grid. And for the first time, I think, the first time in the game, they've given us some diagonal wall pieces, which I guess is needed for the architecture of the building from the film. There's this big piece that sits on top of it. Again, some of these are quite specific. You're only really going to be using them if you're making the scene from the film. But you know, some really nice, useful bits. These will make great fences. Look at these pieces here. Really good looking fences there. And some nice just a bits of detail, just all these little bits, you know how useful they become, right? Over here we've got Romanesque, again another great sort of city building, again lots of different shapes and sizes, most pieces in there. Love these sort of half walls with the windows, I think they're really nice bits of details of scuffs on the windows. Again, another nice door there, a little bit of detailing, not quite as filled out as the other ones these, but still pretty good. And then finally we've got the Spook Central set that goes alongside the roof of this one, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but again, really nice cornice pieces, a nice vent there, that's going to be quite useful, I think, for other places. And again, nice sort of Art Deco ceiling there. The game comes with a few blueprints as well. I've only placed the main ones down here, one obviously being the Ghostbusters fire station, which looks pretty awesome, and then the Spook Central building itself with the big thing on the top where Sigourney Weaver comes out and tries to kill them all. As well as building pieces, this one's really interesting. Comes with loads of, I tried to do this with billboards, loads of sort of facade buildings. Okay, so these are all sort of how you build out the exterior of studio parks. These are really quite exciting, actually. I think these look really good. It's pushing me towards going back into Geekism Studios. I know that it's kind of dead, that series, but this sort of stuff is making me want to go and have a look at it. So there's loads of scaffolding pieces, all different sort of permutations, and then there are these awesome sort of skyline pieces here, going off in the distance, force perspective, some nice floor and wall pieces. Strange kind of size, these ones. They're like a rectangular size. Nice bit of detailing there that could be used as a fence. And then a few other little bits of detail here. Again, nice some vents here. Look at these excited me more than they probably should. And graffiti as well excited me a little bit more than they probably should. I'm assuming these are people in the Frontier Developments. J Law, I assume, is John. And there's others there, which is pretty cool. And some they're called these pieces that go over windows and some stuff. So yeah, they're interesting. Those, I think they're very specific use. There's only really one thing you're going to get out of these, really, unless you start being really creative. But overall, I think that's a really nice addition. Mika, shush please. It's Mika for once making a noise. It's normally Oreo on these videos. Right, something very special to show you next. Here it is, the Ghostmobile itself, Ecto-1. How good does that look? Really nice detailing there on the interior as well. You've got all the bits and bobs they need. Really nice look work on this. I love the fact that it's it's still got that sort of Planko shine to it. It's still got that Planko style to it. Yeah, it's obviously very iconic as to what it is. That looks really, really good. Talking to vehicles, then we move on to the new ride system. There is a free version of this in the free update as well, but this is the Ghostbusters themed one. So first of all, they have these awesome Ghostbusters themed cars now. Quite good throughput on these as well, 6 in each of these, and you can set them to be shooting. So let's speed this up a little bit. I've set up a very, very basic setup here to kind of show you what it's capable of. Much in the same way that you can trigger scenery pieces on the track, you can now trigger these target pieces to come out. So I've set them to trigger about here, and as you'll see, they let me just get the speed in right here. I can't remember what the code is for speed. Oh yeah, there we go. So we've sped them to pop them up as and when. So you've got ones that can tip up on like a longer arm, ones that can tip on a shorter arm, and then ones that just turn on and off. They're normally, against a wall. The ones they showed on the screenshot are obviously the huge Planko scale ones, but actually the smallest ones, they're pretty good. I think those are the ones you're going to be using, let's be honest, for the most part. But here's the fun thing, is that when guests are in there, they will try and shoot them, and they will actually get scores, and they will register what the top score is, and they'll come in and out and get scores like that. But also, you can actually have a go yourself. How exciting is this? So now you can actually play the game. Let's come around here and pop the time off now. There we go. So 3, 2, 1. We can shoot like this. So as soon as these pop up, obviously pretty easy, this version of the game. if I'm honest, but boom, here we go. Oh, actually, I missed one. Look at that. Oh, I missed a few. So there you go. So obviously you can do a lot more with those, make them more interesting. Also, you can set some of the options here. Here we go, edit shooting ride. So you can select the targets here and which ones are connected to the ride. You can edit the trigger sequence for them. You can do a few things here. You can have ammo. You can have free camera shooting. That's like an FPS style shooting, but also you can have it locked to the car. And so there what you can do is you can make the car pause for a little while using the track and just have a scene where stuff happens. So a little bit more like Toy Story's Midway Mania, where you sort of pull up against the screen, stuff happens for a bit and you move on. Or you can have it more of like a rolling continuous ride like we have there, that's more traditional sort of Laser Quest ghost trains. So really exciting to see what is possible with these. The only thing I can show you right now, because I haven't really had time to make anything myself, is the one that comes built in to the update. Okay, so here is an example of what is possible with this system once you've had a play around with it. We're in the Ghostbusters first part of the scenario, and they're using the ghosty ones here to shoot. Obviously it's pretty easy to start off with, but just shows you the sort of theming you can do with it. Imagine what people are going to do with this. They're going to blow people's minds. Obviously they're using the ghost triggers here. But you do have the regular sort of target ones as well. You're going to be able to set those targets up to be next to the regular animatronics. So if you want to do like a Western one of these, you're going to be able to have like a Western, a cowboy pop up with a target next to him. Which I think is going to be quite a decent way of doing it. Maybe it would have been nice to be able to turn any animatronic into a target, but I think it's a relatively decent solution they've got here. There we go. But here, what you're looking at is the sort of static version of the game, so that you can't move around the screen. It's more of a sort of pull up and then have a good go at what's going on. So, like I say, it's a bit more like a screen game as opposed to a traditional laser shot that you normally get. But I love these sort of dark screens they've got set up. Oh, here comes Smiler. Let's get him. Got him. Got him. Good. Haha, how good. The other new addition in the rides category is the Slimer coaster. This is the blueprint called Little Spud, and it's a reskin of the kids coaster, I'm pretty sure, but it comes with this the awesome Smiler train. Let's see if we can pause it here so we can have a good look at it. And there it is. It's pretty cool. This I think. You're going to get the most out of this pack if you build a Ghostbusters area in your park, right? And if you build a Ghostbusters area in your park, this is going to make a great addition for the kids, along with a couple of the other flat rides that are sort of spooky themed. It's pretty neat. It's nicely designed there. Looks pretty sweet. Although you wouldn't get a great view if you sat right at the front. So there you go, there's a quick rough overview of everything that comes with the Ghostbusters DLC pack as far as scenery and building items and the new ride are concerned. Do I think this one's worth the money? This is quite a tricky one for me, to be honest with you, because I think it really depends on whether or not you're a fan of the IP. As much as I enjoy Ghostbusters, I think, I'm not really a massive fan of it. And I think the main thing you're getting here with this DLC is the full scenery, the full scenario mode, which there's something like 5 levels, I think, something like that, 5 parts to it. And there's loads of new mechanics. The rides can get haunted now, and you have to employ the Ghostbusters as a new type of staff to go into rides and clear out ghosts, and they go and put them into the ghost freezer thing they have in the film again. As you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of the source material. And I think really the value for money on this pack is all down to whether or not you're a fan of that, you're a fan of the idea of playing through the scenario as Ghostbusters and all these pieces that you want to do a Ghostbusters ride. Don't get me wrong, the rest of the stuff in the pack is really great. I think a lot of the city building pieces are fantastic, but whether or not they're worth the higher price compared to the prices of the Studios pack, which is probably where I would put this one to be most similar, I think it really is down to the fact that you're either a Ghostbusters fan or not really. The ride, as good as it is, the new Target ride shooting, a free version of that comes with the free update as well. So I think this pack is for one of 3 types of people. One, you're a huge Ghostbusters fan, you want anything Ghostbusters, you can't wait to play some Ghostbusters style gameplay in Planet Coaster. 2, which is where I sit, that you are a fan of new pieces in the game, quite happy to spend a few quid on them. Really, you know, you've got a bit of a disposable income, and in the grand scheme of things, £15 isn't a huge amount for some nice new pieces. Or 3, you're not really a fan of Ghostbusters or a fan of the IP, but you want to kind of support Frontier into moving forward with more maybe licensed content or just more content for Planet Coaster. In general, I granted that third group is probably quite small, but you know, they're probably out there. So really, you know whether or not this is worth it for you, having looked at it. Like I say, I am going to be playing through the Ghostbusters scenario, just because it's something so different, and I think it might be quite fun to try. But obviously, there's going to be pieces in here that I'm going to be going straight into other parks, mostly Pinewood, and I think we could probably have a look at Geekism Studios off the back of this pack, just because there's so much Studios style stuff that I think would work quite well in there. Yeah, look forward to that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, you can give us a like. It really does help out the channel. And if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe. Any thoughts, queries, suggestions, you can put them down in the comments. If you fancy a chat, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Chanty Sparrow. If you'd like to join in with the Geekism community, you can do so over on our Geekism Discord server. You'll find the link for that in the description. Thanks to all of our patrons. They make these videos possible through their generous support at patreon.com/geekism. And don't forget to check out our affiliate links. You get yourself some cheap games and other goodies while supporting the channel at the same time. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.